Hi everyone, welcome back to Mohivate. I'm Dr. Mohi Sarawgee, a GP by profession, curious like all of you, and constantly on a journey of hope. But here I'm swapping prescriptions for perspective. A few weeks ago, we began a mini series on what pop culture fondly calls the social hormones. They've divided them into cortisol, the stress one that keeps everyone in check, and the so called happiness hormones serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins. Remember, we spoke of them as an orchestra, each hormone playing its own note in the symphony of how we feel. And when they are in rhythm, life hums. Mood, motivation, or motivation, and connection all find their balance. Last time, we explored the first note, serotonin, the science of calm. Today, we move to the second note, the one that carries that calm beyond ourselves. If serotonin steadies your rhythm, this hormone lets that rhythm resonate. It spreads warmth, not by infection, but by affection. And yes, I know words like spread or contagious have had a rough few years, but this is one kind worth keeping. This molecule moves between people. It turns eye contact into trust, touch into comfort, and a shared laugh into something the brain recognizes as safety. It's the messenger that says you're not alone. Today, we are exploring oxytocin, the heart's messenger, the chemistry of connection, the science of why a hug, a hand, or a kind word can lower blood pressure, ease anxiety, and remind your body what safety feels like. Because oxytocin doesn't just live in your brain, it lives between people. And if it had a LinkedIn bio, it would probably say professional connector, specialist in hugs, available for emotional emergencies. So today, let's take a walk through the science of connection, how it works, how to recognize it, and how to create it one tiny feel good moment at a time. Because understanding the chemistry of connection also begins one hormone at a time. Oxytocin is both a hormone and a neurotransmitter, a tiny molecule with an enormous emotional signature. It begins its life in the hypothalamus, a small almond sized region deep in your brain that acts like mission control for emotion, temperature, hunger, and stress. From there, it travels a few millimeters down a thin stalk to reach the pituitary gland, a pearl like structure tucked just behind your eyes. That's where it's released into the bloodstream, connecting your brain to your body in seconds. If you remember the HPA axis from the serotonin episode, the brain's stress control circuit, the oxytocin system sits right beside it. You could say they share a corridor. One responds to threat, the other to trust. When oxytocin rises, the HPA axis quiets, heart rate slows, blood pressure eases, and your body's alarm system finally exhales. Biochemically, oxytocin looks deceptively simple. Just 9 amino acids looped together like a small circle of trust, biochemically speaking, but its reach is extraordinary. It ripples through every organ touched by stress, touch, or trust. In medicine, oxytocin first became famous for its physical roles. It triggers uterine contractions during labor and helps release milk after birth. But that's only its opening act, because the same molecule that brings life into the world also binds it. Every time a newborn rests on a parent's chest, Oxytocin floods both their brains. It's the biochemical version of "you're safe now." And that mechanism stays with us for life in friendship, teamwork, even the simple comfort of sitting near someone who gets you. Pop psychology loves calling oxytocin the love hormone, but it's really the trust signal, the body's way of saying you can soften now. Fun fact, scientists first isolated oxytocin in 1953 from cow pituitary glands and nicknamed it the quick birth molecule because of how powerfully it triggered labor. They just didn't know then that it also helps build friendships, calm fears, and keep relationships steady long after the delivery room. Oxytocin never works alone. It moves in harmony with the brain's emotional circuits. It softens the amygdala. Remember your brain's built in alarm bell, the part that scans for danger and decides when to panic. At the same time, it lights up the prefrontal cortex, your personality's control center behind your forehead, that helps you interpret meaning, read emotions, and choose empathy over impulse. That's why, under oxytocin's influence, people tend to read faces more accurately and forgive faster. It also boosts activity along the vagus nerve, that long wandering messenger connecting your brain to your heart, lungs, and gut. When oxytocin turns on that vagal brake, your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, and the body shifts from defense to connection. A warm touch, a shared laugh, even an encouraging tone of voice, that's oxytocin's signal traveling through your body's social Wi Fi. Even animals show it. When dogs and humans lock eyes, both release oxytocin. That's not poetry, that's biology affirming connection. We feel oxytocin not in moments of excitement but in moments of safety. It's released during ordinary human moments, feeding a baby, hugging someone you love, holding hands, or even cuddling a pet. It can rise when we sing in a group, share a laugh, or sit beside someone who truly listens. Even eye contact, steady, open, and kind, can shift your chemistry within minutes. It's the brain's way of saying, I see you, you're safe here. Oxytocin also appears in less expected places. When you comfort a friend, volunteer your time, pray, meditate, do breathing exercises alone, or even breathe in rhythm with someone else. In all those moments, your body receives the same message. Connection achieved, you can rest. And yes, technically, even your morning deep breathing session counts. So if someone catches you sighing dramatically at your desk, just say you're doing advanced oxytocin training, highly scientific. Oxytocin doesn't just make us feel connected, it also protects us. When it's released, it tones down cortisol, the stress hormone, and signals to the brain that help is near. That's why people who feel supported recover faster after surgery, cope better with grief, and even fight infections more efficiently. Connection literally strengthens the immune system. In one Stanford study's controlled experiment, participants exposed to stressful tasks while holding a loved one's hand had lower heart rates and higher oxytocin levels than those who faced the task alone. It's not the hand that lowers stress, it's the chemistry that touch sets in motion. And this effect isn't limited to romance. Friends, pets, even meaningful eye contact with a stranger can activate the same circuitry. It's your body's way of saying, we are in this together. Oxytocin can sound like pure magic, the hug hormone, the trust signal, the social glue. But like all chemistry, it comes with fine print. It doesn't create goodness out of thin air, it amplifies belonging. That means it can also strengthen the us, sometimes at the expense of the them. In social psychology studies, people with higher oxytocin levels were more generous to their own group but not necessarily kinder to outsiders. So, while it builds empathy, it can also build cliques. Oxytocin, it seems, didn't read the memo about world peace. It's loyal but not entirely impartial. That's why empathy needs awareness to stay open hearted. Oxytocin is the fuel, intention is the steering wheel. So maybe the next time you feel left out of a group chat, blame evolution, not your personality. You don't need grand gestures to boost oxytocin. Small, consistent cues do the work, the same way steady sunlight nurtures serotonin. Touch. A hug lasting more than 20 seconds can cause a measurable oxytocin surge. That's why those long, grounding hugs feel almost medicinal. My niece, now 19, does transactional hugging. Not for money, mind you, but for emotional labor. If I've listened to her entire playlist without saying they all sound the same, or if I've listened patiently to her life updates in full Gen Z code, only then do I qualify for a hug. No carry forward balance. And my best friend's 7-year-old, I told him, when I come over, I need 20 hugs. He looked straight at me with a naughty smile and said, I don't do hugs. Whatever's happening these days, clearly we are raising emotionally intelligent negotiators. After touch comes laughter. Shared humor synchronizes breathing and micro movements, increasing oxytocin flow through the vagus nerve pathway. So that laugh with a friend or the one you can't control in the middle of a serious meeting is actually biochemical teamwork. Then, acts of kindness. Even giving directions to someone lost in traffic can trigger oxytocin release. Your brain rewards cooperation. Next, music and singing. Choirs have shown higher circulating oxytocin after rehearsal, rhythm as chemistry, teamwork as therapy. And pets. Petting a dog or cat for a few minutes raises oxytocin for both species. Remember, this is all mutual healing, one heartbeat to another. In the brain, oxytocin pairs specially with the dopamine system. Together, they form the circuitry of attachment. During childbirth, nursing, or even affectionate touch, oxytocin rises first. Then, dopamine follows, reinforcing the bond. It's biology's way of saying, stay close, this matters. Brain imaging studies show that when couples or close friends share meaningful interaction, oxytocin strengthens connections in the nucleus accumbens, the brain's reward hub. That's why love, care, and community feel rewarding even without any external incentive. The chemistry is the reward. On the emotional side, oxytocin fine tunes how we read faces and interpret expressions. In people with anxiety or social phobia, these recognition circuits can misfire. That's why researchers have explored whether oxytocin sprays could temporarily recalibrate social recognition, though results so far are mixed. Connection still works best the natural way, face to face, heartbeat to heartbeat. If serotonin was sunlight and rhythm, oxytocin is touch and trust. Here are my top 5 science backed tips on how to nurture it. Number 1, reach out daily. Send a genuine message, share gratitude, or make eye contact when you order coffee. Connection compounds like interest. Small acts repeated often become emotional wealth. Number 2, practice self compassion. Even your inner voice can trigger oxytocin. Your brain reads kindness as safety, no matter who offers it. Number 3, add music and movement. Dance, sing, or join a group workout. Collective rhythm synchronizes heartbeats and chemistry. You don't have to be in tune, you just have to be in sync. Number 4, give without scorekeeping. Small, sincere acts of service elevate oxytocin faster than self praise ever will. Generosity, it turns out, is a biochemical loop. And the fifth and final tip, cultivate rituals of touch. A hug before work, a hand on a shoulder. Micro moments of contact with macro impact. It reminds me of a line I read years ago in a column by a writer who wrote about love, marriage, and children, where she once said to her partner, "We'll hold hands till conversations come back." This is so beautiful when you think about it, and all these years, this has stayed with me. Maybe that's what connection really is, holding on in small ways that matter until calm or conversation returns, whether that's with your partner, your parent, or your child. Just be careful, not with your boss or a stranger on the tube. If you've been through loss, trauma, or simply too much screen time, oxytocin pathways can grow rusty. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means your nervous system forgot what safety feels like. Healing starts small. One text, one walk, one genuine smile. Every act of trust tells the brain, connection is safe again. Therapists sometimes call this social repatterning, that is, training the body to believe in belonging again. It's slow work, but your biology remembers. It always wants to find its way home. So, if serotonin steadies the rhythm within you, oxytocin restores the rhythm between us. It's the chemistry that makes care visible, the bridge between isolation and belonging. We are wired for togetherness, molecule by molecule, moment by moment. If you take away one thought today, let it be this: connection isn't sentimental, it's physiological. A hug, a laugh, a kind word. Each is a dose of internal medicine your body already knows how to make. I hope something today stirred a thought, gave you a smile, or simply made you pause. Whatever time it is where you are, I hope you carry a little feel-good factor with you. Thank you for listening. I'm Dr. Mohi. Until next time, stay motivated. May your connections be steady and your hearts open. And if your chemistry ever feels unkind, may a soft pillow, a deep breath, or a small act of kindness remind you you're already coming home to yourself.